Leslie, welcome back. Alien Cow. So everyone, y'all stuck with the name Alien Cow? I know that was sort of off the
Just
cuff.
wait until you see our logo. It's oh my god, it is so
It's
good.
it's whimsical. We need more whimsy.
Oh, that's great. All right. So we're gonna jump straight into this thing. Let me get. Hold on, stream is not cooperating. One moment. All right, I think we're good now. Yes. All right. Welcome to the stream, everyone. And now let me share my screen and we will hop in. So this is day 2 of the Indie Game Academy Level 1 Jam. The whole idea here, as y'all remember, is to create a viable prototype. We want you to be testing a team and testing a game concept. Perhaps these are your next great co-founders, and perhaps they're your next great enemy. Who knows? Before anything else, welcome back, Cohort 26. Why don't we get a round of Fs for you and your hard work last night? Get some Fs. Yes. Well done. Perfect. Awesome. Next Game of the Year devs right here. I'm very excited to see you on stage at IGF next year. Y'all already know what level 1 is. The concept of this new version, I already have ideas on how to iterate more, but regardless, the concept of this new version is that this is a guided game jam where you get to test a team, test a concept, and then learn from smart people. Wow. And you build a viable prototype. So we know we're not building an entire game here this weekend. We are instead building something that allows us to test if we should further invest in a game concept. This is a part of a new curriculum in the past. Our old programs were all kind of standalone, and you'd make a brand new game in every single one of them. Now we're trying to make it so that you are bringing the same games as long as they feel promising between programs. So we hope to see you all the way in Foundry to help you launch a game studio. Coming up next on March 30th is IGA Level 2, where you spend 1 month in 4 one-week sprints improving on the core loop of your game. You come in with a prototype, and you leave with a viable... What is the link for this? Hold on. And you leave with a viable first playable, basically a game that you think is really fun and satisfying and that people actually want to play. Wow. I've just dropped the link to that if anybody wants to apply. We are currently in early bird, so if you apply now, you get 20% off. That ends March 6th, which is this Friday. We'd love to see you in Level 2. For Level 2, these are your professors. It'll be me. Hi. And then rather than Joe Leiter, you will have Buddy Sola, Marketing Director at Aquapara. And rather than Gabe, you will have Tony Sharma, Director of Duel Master at Wizards of the Coast. Both of them have taught for us in the past. You're here, though, right now in our Level 1 weekend course. We have just finished up. Can I zoom in? Will you let me zoom? You won't let me zoom. Can I zoom like this now? Yeah, there we go. We've just finished up our first day where we did an introductory lecture on 2 core topics, discoverability and creative direction. Today is all about office hours. So I'm going to do a little intro with you right now, but then you'll have an hour with Gabe where he will just answer questions about creative direction and about making a great game that's fun for players. You'll have an hour with Joe where he will answer questions about discoverability and just give you some thoughts on how to make a game people will actually watch. And then for both of them, there is an audience granted boon for those who are here in the room with us. During Gabe's section, he's going to review GDDs, and the audience's favorite GDD, favorite game concept, will get a boon. And then during Joe's segment, y'all will have the chance to elevator pitch your games to him, and the audience will vote for their favorite elevator pitch. Tomorrow, there will be some live short-form video reviews. I will talk about that in a moment. And then me and Tim will play all submitted games sometime this week. And then off on March 6th, we have our closing ceremony after the peer voted scoring. There are 2 consultant boons being granted today. You will get 30 minutes with Joe and 30 minutes with Gabe. And those are awarded by the audience. So hello, stream audience. We love you. You will be picking your favorite games today and granting 30 minutes with both of the advisors to 1 team each for your favorites. Here is the Sunday agenda. It is much simpler than yesterday. Today, right now, I'm doing a little intro. Then from 12:15 to 1:15, you'll have those office hours with Gabe. From 1:15 to 2:15, you'll have those office hours with Joe. At 11:59 p.m. EST tonight, you have Milestone 2. And Milestone 2, if you remember, is to post a short-form video of your first playable. You can post that to any platform that you feel excited about. And then I will be actually reviewing these tomorrow morning and looking through any videos that were posted, and then the audience will pick their favorite video. You can just record some gameplay and post that. You can get a little bit more fancy with it and edit it. The idea here is that we want you creating marketing content for your game immediately, because that is how indie devs succeed. They tell the story of the development process. They don't wait until the game is ready for launch. They do it right now, even in the prototyping phase. So we want you to make a short form video, and then when you post it, wherever you post it, just use the hashtag IGA level 1, and that will allow us to find it. Then, of course, your game is due for submission tomorrow night at midnight, and March 6th, we will have our closing ceremony. While you are here in this gather, I'll remind you, please keep your mics muted. We don't want to hear the dog barking or the baby crying, but we do want to see your face. If you're willing to turn on your video, please turn it on. That helps this all feel a little bit more connected. Core agreements. Don't forget, let's have fun in this space. Let's be kind and patient with each other, and let's celebrate as much as we freaking can, because the world is crazy. If you've been enjoying using this co-working space, we do have you can get, hard to say, tongue twister, you can get permanent access to the co-working space if you wish via our Patreon. That's something for you to consider if you want to have other indie devs to hang out with on a regular basis. Inside this castle, we host weekly kickoffs, so actually live inside the castle, and we host weekly office hours. We just all hang out, or weekly co-working sessions, I should say. We all just hang out, talk about what we're working on, ask for feedback and questions and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to have more permanent access to this space, consider signing up. All right, let's do a little warm-up. So those who have been in level 1 with us before know that we love to talk video games. So in just a moment, I would like you to split off into a random breakout room over on the right-hand side, and I want you to all investigate the game Peak. Peak, as you know, is one of our favorite examples of a very small time box game that absolutely exploded. Now, you, individually, an indie team that doesn't have much history yet, building Peak is still very unlikely because you don't have the audience that Aggro Crab had, you don't have the engineering chops yet, probably, although I might be wrong, prove me wrong. It's unlikely that your team would wind up releasing a game like Peak that makes $50 million, but you can totally get close, and you can totally get inspired by this. So Peak was made by a team of about 7 in just a month, which is wild. And then they expanded it over a couple of months after that and actually launched it. It cost them less than $200,000 to build, and it has now made well over $55 million. And in fact, that's an old stat. So somebody else can look up how much it's actually made. I guarantee it's more like 70 or 80 by now. So I want you to do a mini case study on the game of Peak. I'm going to have you head over to a random breakout room, just hang out with a few friendos, expand your social network for a moment, and look into why you think Peak succeeded. I want you to come up with 3 main lessons that we will share with each other, and then we will get to our office hours with Gabe. So you can hit escape now, get out of my full screen, walk over to a random breakout room, and spend 5 minutes looking into why Peak succeeded. Come up with 3 core lessons for me. Go ahead. All right, and I will drop the instructions in the chat so that I can stop screen sharing so that people aren't blocked. All right. Can I move Joe? Oh, hi, Joe. All right, everybody who is still in the classroom, I assume you're getting coffee or warming up, but we're doing a 5-minute case study on the game Peak. So go hang out with the breakout room and come up with 3 lessons that Peak succeeded. 3 reasons why Peak succeeded.
Just finishing a quick debugger. I'm going in just 1 minute.
No worries, Marco. You're good. You're good. All right. And audience, while we're hanging out, any of you have thoughts on why Peak was so goddamn successful? Here. Oh, and I forgot. I've been adding my face to the stream. Oh, I forget how to. There we go. All right. Now you have my face. Hello, stream. Welcome to day 2 of the Indie Game Academy level 1. All right, so stream. I'm going to switch my screen for a second. Why is it so hard every time? Is it this button? There we go. All right, great. let's look at Peak. So, this is Peak. As y'all know. In fact, let's see. Revenue of the game, Peak. It's still just labeling it as 55 million. But that is, I know, an old stat. Oh, yeah. All right, they're now past 70 million, it looks like. So this little what we call friend slop game has now made over $70 million. And it was made by two companies. Yeah, AgroCrab and then, yeah, Landfall. Yes. So two development companies came together to build this thing. AgroCrab is one of like the best indies these days, at least, for community management and just like having a great relationship with your community. They're really fantastic at social media content. They're really fantastic at just like having fun and making games that people want to watch and play. And so their ability to do that with the engineering chops of Landfall, I think, was a really fantastic recipe for success. So that's maybe the first thing to point out. The next thing to point out, though, is just what a highly streamable game this is, and what a tremendous amount of word of mouth potential this game has. So if you are unfamiliar, it is a 4-playing climbing game where you climb between worlds, where you climb mountains, and where you use different items to actually climb. And you must, for the most part, have friends in order to succeed, because a lot of the items sort of require the use of multiple people, or at the very least, they are super helpful to multiple people. So one person can drop a rope and that helps the second person up, right? And then in addition, it has proximity chat. So if you've played Phasmophobia or Lethal Company, the magic of proximity chat totally worked here. And it is very easy for players to die, and dying has dire consequences. When you die, you can't come back until your friends finish this current climb. So you can wind up sitting out for 20 or 30 minutes when you die, which honestly kind of sucks. I'm not sure how I feel about that one. But what they've wound up succeeding in making is a game that's just really fun to play with your friends. And yeah, absolutely grabs the attention of a stream viewer. I'd love to hear in the chat your thoughts on why Peak succeeded. I'm going to let folks know that they should start wrapping up, though. Start wrapping up your chats, everybody. What are your 3 core takeaways for Peak? 3 lessons for us to learn. All right, I'll share my screen so that y'all can see the gather again. Ooh, does Gamealytic have stats on Peak? Oh, there we go. Oh! Gamealytic has gross revenue listed at 93.8 million so far for Peak. That is pretty good. I mean, I'm not going to complain about it. Holy cow. Wow. If we get even a 1/10 of that, we'll be happy. All right, start making your way back to the classroom. We'll talk about it for a hot second together before we hand this thing off to Gabe. All right, what can we learn from Peak? Why they so good and how we be that good? Who would like to start? The real question. Thank you for laughing at my bad jokes, Kate. Roberto, what do you think?
Well, I think the reason why Peak succeeded, I guess, not just because of the title Peak, but not just because of the title Peak, but I think the reason is because like it was simplicity, like listen, like gameplay wise, like since it's all about friends climbing various things, not just mountains and terrain, and also the cute, like the graphics are cartoonish, like graphics, like it's so appealing, like on the eyes and stuff.
Yeah, those are great points. I think something that's worth noting about Peak that I personally really love is systemically, like the number of systems that are in the game. It's actually quite low. There's not that many things going on. And there's a decent amount of depth in some of them. So like the items that you can use have a great variety, and they all do very different things. But as far as like the number of unique systems that it takes to make Peak fun, it's very small. It's like I have stamina, I climb, I use items, and that's like basically it. And a couple of other cute little things like being able to grab your friend's hands and stuff like that. And then, as you point out, the visual art is also very strong. For a friend slop game, especially, it's fun, it's silly, it's hilarious to watch your buddy with a unique custom hat fall off a mountain and die. Right? Anybody else? Why did Peak succeed?
I do think that's a good point off of what our friend had talked about yesterday in terms of having few systems, but a lot of ways that those systems kind of get expanded on. So like a lot of the kind of mechanics of Peak aren't systems, but they're like emergent gameplay that are coming from those systems interacting with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, super well said. I had a great chat at one point with Ty, who's the guy who made RimWorld. And if you're familiar with RimWorld is like an amazing collection of disparate systems that come together to create a ton of emergent effects. And something he said that I always thought was really cool is my game is an emergent narrative device. Like it's about a bunch of different systems creating stories that you might not have expected. So like one of his examples is in the little like chat in RimWorld, it doesn't actually tell you what people are saying. Like he doesn't have it generate text. It just tells you what they're feeling. So it'll say like, Sarah is mad at Jim, and that's all it actually says. And then the player winds up deciding what that means. So like maybe Jim just walked across Sarah's field, and so the player is like, "Oh, Jim, you trample on the crops, God damn it!" And I think games that are able to create emergent stories are really powerful. Anything else?
My little subgroup talked a little bit about like. I'm missing the word, the legibility of mechanics. It really translates to an audience that have no idea what gaming is like, and you don't need to be a gamer to understand what's going on in Peak. And in terms of the theme of this jam and a lot of popularity with like short form content, that's really important.
Yeah.
So that somebody who's never touched Peak or co-op game in general can look at it and be like, oh, that's a silly guy falling off a cliff. I know what that is.
Well said. Awesome. All right. If you have anything else, put it in the chat for me. I'm going to hand us off to the first office hours, though. If you have other thoughts on why Peak succeeded, put it in the chat. I also, there was a viral video semi-recently where they talked about this, but their pricing strategy is strong, too. Despite the game looking extremely well polished, it is a very cheap game. And so if a friend is like, hey, I want to play Peak, and you got to spend $4, you're not really going to complain about that. All right. Let's hand this off. So don't forget your prizes. So the bounty board is still up and live, and it is the main place to get links on how to submit stuff. So actually, let me share that real quick too. So just a reminder of everything that's up for grabs. One team will get a full pass to level 2. That is the game that gets the highest peer-reviewed scores in all categories. One team will get $500 from Xsola as long as you have a web shop. And remember that you have to submit to a different location if you want to be eligible for that $500. The web shop is pretty easy to set up. Consider setting it up. And then we've got a couple of other great goodies. You might come on our podcast. You might get shouted out by another publisher. And you might get some consultations. So take a look at the prize board. It tells you how to submit for stuff. All right. There we go. Remember our judging criteria for the game. We're trying to make a streamable game with great gameplay, a good story for your team, and some fantastic visual art. I actually moved this and shouldn't have, but it's okay. Remember that your next milestone, you're just working on the game at this point, but we do want to see you submit that short form video, so don't forget about that. That can be simple, just some gameplay, or you can get creative about editing it. In fact, Aggro Crab is a fantastic indie studio to look at for how they handle their short form videos. One of the best that there is. All right, time to hand you off. So let's get back into creative direction. For the next hour, I'd like to welcome back to the stage Gabriel Cornish. Gabe is our creative direction advisor for the weekend. And for the next hour, it's open office hours. So you are welcome to ask him anything about creative direction or game development at all. And then secondarily, Gabe has access to the GDDs that you submitted last night. So Gabe, we'd also ask that you review those, and the audience will pick their favorite to grant a sit down with Gabe. So let's get a round of Fs for Gabe.
right, thank you.
Nice.
So what's I'm curious how this is what we can do to make this the most helpful for everyone. As far as reviewing the GDDs, I have them here. What's the best way to kind of go about that? Well, should we have people kind of walk through their own GDDs and I can kind of evaluate and help answer questions or give some guidance? Or should I be going through them myself? I'm open to whatever. I just wanted it to be useful and helpful for everyone.
Why don't we, audience, I am, not audience, hi audience, we love you. Developers, hello developers, I love you. I think probably what we should do is prioritize the folks who are in this room, because they've shown up for us, so we should show up for them. And then we should go through one at a time the GDDs of those who are in the room and answer any specific questions, maybe. So you get a little one-on-one time with each of them. Does that sound good?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Sweet.
Does anybody want to go first?
Who wants to be brave? Of course, Wesley does. All right, Wesley, let's see what you got.
All right. So I have a list. I'll go ahead and share my screen just so that we can all kind of be on the same page. I think it's this one, right? Okay, yeah, you guys are gonna get the infinite abyss
Anxiety.
here. I'm not sure actually which is which, unfortunately. So I think you might have to share yours in the chat.
Yes.
This is terrible. I'm sorry, you guys have to put up with this. Give me 1 second.
Wesley, would you drop the link to yours? Or you could even start by presenting if you want, or somebody on your team could present. Sort of pitch it to us a little bit.
Yeah. It's actually always probably more fun if you get to walk through your own work.
Yeah. Rain, do you want to walk us through it then?
Sure. Let me
put you on the spot.
Wait, how's this gonna work if I put that tab onto my tablet so it's like separate screens so I can see what I'm doing?
I'm also happy to share the screen for you if that's more helpful.
I hope this is working. Okay.
Sweet.
There we go.
Too small to
Is this
see.
the other D&D?
There we go. Yeah, the 3Ds. I guess.
D&D and D.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had like a few versions just because we had like a bunch of different ideas running around. Especially with the streamability, we're really sort of aiming big with the streamability theme. But yeah, our game is called Demons and Dining Darling, and then we had a little isekai like subtitle headed for it, I guess, which is help, I died and went to hell, and now my sexy incubus boss wants to serve me up for dinner. Leaning into the cooking theme a little. Yeah, so we were thinking obviously HIO for PC, Steam, obviously streaming sites with the streamability aspect. We wanted to include some kind of play around with the Twitch integration that like you can get in different games. So we had quite a few ideas for the gameplay. Obviously, I'm not sure how that would work with a Switch release, but we were playing around with replacing the Twitch integration ideas that we've had. So it would just be like fake people or like, you know, automated requests to the player from like the engine, I suppose, to like try and dumb it down a little. So there would be like fake audience members requesting different orders from you in your little restaurant. Yeah, we're using Unity. We have no doubloons currently for our business model because it's just a little prototype. We wanted to set it in hell because we were thinking of like this sort of demons and like monsters, I guess like aesthetic mixed with this like I think what we used is the bear, the show, meets Monster Prom. So you're just in like this horribly like busy kitchen trying to fulfill orders. And meanwhile, you're in hell, so obviously, like, you've probably been like a really horrible person who has like their own issues. But the main sort of draw is that like hectic environment, where you have to, you know, have a bunch of demons. You also wanted to include a little visual novel element between the cooking levels, so you'd get to meet like your boss, who's this really strict and stern demon who's running the whole place. And basically your only goal is to make sure that he doesn't get too angry at you for taking too long with the orders. Yeah, so our core gameplay mechanics is like really simple point and click. We were thinking of dragging things as well, like playing around with physics to make it a bit more fun and like goofy. Reducing like a whole like, you know, like restaurant kitchen into this magical like demon realm with using like maybe like magical spirits or like magical tools, and obviously you have your knife, which is quite like the iconic kitchen tool, or like, you know, in like these cooking games of like the tool that you use the most. Yeah, once again, only managed the boss's patient bar, who we call Damien. And then yeah, stream integration with maybe like viewers can like sacrifice themselves if he gets too angry at you. So they can sort of like try to like calm him down a little. And then having maybe like special shift events if you like, you know, if you get like a high score or something, or just like random events happening. Once again, a chance for that integration with streaming and like the audience, where, you know, let's say an event happens that's like, oh, a customer's like really angry because you didn't make the right thing, and then your boss is like really angry at you, and they can decide to sort of lie and like cover for you, be like a little angel, like, you know, be a little devil and be like, you know, make it one almost. The area we were thinking of is just one screen. Or like the main screen would be obviously like the kitchen environment, and then in between stages we were thinking of having like an overlay to darken it and add some like sort of pop-up backgrounds with the boss's sprite, so it has the, you know, implication that you're not on shift anymore and you're not working anymore in these segments. Obviously different objects we sort of went over earlier with like the magical tools, regular stuff like knives, a dishwasher maybe, but we were thinking of making that into a magic item just for like abstraction of the cooking process, ingredients as well, and like obviously containers for those, so they're not just like all over the place, and trying to keep the environment that you have to work in sort of quite orderly and quite easy to pick up, because obviously the more complex, like the more steps that we add to the game to try and reflect like a realistic cooking process, the harder it would be for people to get into it, and it would lose that sort of fun, silly, goofy vibe that we wanted to go for. Yeah, for the narrative, the overview is basically, yeah, you've died and gone to hell, and now you find yourself trapped in a hellish restaurant called Devilish Delights. Prep the orders right, do the dishes, serve the customers in time, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find some time in between to seduce your smooth and seductive but demanding boss. So the player fantasy is obviously to succeed, to cook the dishes efficiently, and to rise in rank as like a demon chef. And obviously like the secondary sort of desire, or maybe the primary for some people, would be to romance their boss and try and get out of the kitchen in that way if they just really don't like the cooking aspect. The actions would be obviously gathering and preparing ingredients into dishes as fast as they can, cleaning them, and sort of rinse and repeat. And then obviously at the end of the level, you would interact with your boss to give players a little bit of a break. The economy would be, you know, getting sort of more patience or more time on the next level if you get like a really high score. So you please your boss and you're very fast, and you're, you know, you work for like no money because you're in hell. Getting better ingredients as you get more skilled, so sort of like you're being trusted more to I suppose to like serve more complicated dishes, more high profile customers. We were thinking of like different naming conventions for ingredients, like with Terraria has this system of whenever you craft a weapon or like an item, you can get a random modifier added to it that can be either really good or really bad. And I think that would obviously with the demon hell setting that we were going for, I think that would be a really fun way to add even more either like frustration or like moments where the streamer or the player is like, oh my god, finally I got like this like godly cabbage, like I can just save my horrible dish with this one ingredient and still pass the level. Obviously the inverse is you get a really bad item and then you're just absolutely screwed. But because of the RNG, I find that that's really goofy and really fun. Even if it might be a little bit frustrating, obviously it's a part of the charm. I'm hoping. Better equipment. We were thinking that people could upgrade maybe like the efficiency of these like magical tools or like these magical spirits that help you cooking. Or you can also upgrade your actual tools so like you get a better knife, you know, things like that. We were also thinking about potentially aesthetic changes. Obviously this would be for like later on once the actual game loop and like the prototype is really fun and snoopy, where people can customize the look of their kitchen a little bit, because we don't what we want to balance is obviously people who play because they like the challenge of cooking and people who play because they really like how it looks, or you know, it's really goofy, it's just like a silly little game that they are mostly there for the narrative or like the different interactions between people than wanting to take up the challenge of becoming the best demon chef in this like horrible restaurant. And also obviously the other thing would be the bosses or the chef's affection. We were thinking of having something that I'll go through later, is having an ending where you get to obviously romance him and like, oh, maybe run into the burning fiery sunset in hell. The world is a fast food restaurant kitchen, so we were limiting it just to that environment. Tone being fun, light, snappy, and sardonic. We only have two characters, so obviously the player character, who you never directly see on screen. It's mostly just like a floating hand sort of thing, because we want to we know that because of the romantic like visual novel-y elements that people would probably want to self-insert into the story, so it's just easier to not show the player too much so people can sort of fantasize about what their, you know, little demon sonar is. And obviously you're dead because you're in hell. The only other character is the NPC chef, so your boss. So I'm just going to read what we put here. Chef Devour, very on the nose. It's your demon captor and by happenstance sexy boss at the hellish restaurant you stumbled into. He's smooth, seductive, and he doesn't give a shit. I don't know if I can swear. Maybe bleep that out. But you'd better pay attention and make his dishes to his standards, or you might find yourself on the wrong side of the prep knife. We have a few designs drawn up for him, but we didn't include it in this document. His appearance is sort of these like neat tongue fork for his horns, his devilish horns. He has a very sharp tail that kind of looks like a knife, and his overall aura, I guess, is smoldery, with cunning eyes. So he's meant to be a sort of seductive demon, who obviously torments you a lot, but you don't get it because he's so hot, I guess. And he'll have a few behaviors, you know, like winking at you if you do well, you know, blowing you a little kiss. But obviously, if he's angry, he's gonna be very mad at you, and he's gonna cross his arms and sort of set himself on fire because he's so angry. We were thinking of a few like environmental effects as well with this, because we were thinking that his hair is sort of this like fiery, I don't know if that's the right word, and his horns also would have little like spits of fire. So you know, if he gets really intense emotionally, the flames of those would sort of flare up, and that would be like a cool little visual element.
Hey, Rain, I'm going to challenge you to finish up in like 1 minute.
Yeah.
Make sure we got time for some other ones.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the narrative, I mean, went over this. You know, you either win, fail, romance your boss, or you get like a secret ending because you sacrifice so many viewers. The gameplay loop, pretty much went over that. You enter the level, you receive an order, gather and prep, and either you fail miserably or you succeed very well. Art style, pretty much went over this. We have a little mood board together. The bear for the story, we were thinking of like a cooking mama-esque like cooking station, some physics and stuff like that for the characters, monster prom and coffee talk with the pixelated element. UI, we have very basic, like just play settings credit with not much detail because it's just a prototype. We were thinking of like a menu, like it looks like a menu that you have on a table. And then first time experience, I mean, that's pretty much the gameplay loop of what we just went over. Assets, you know, player boss, background, fun UI stuff. That's it pretty much. Yeah. Oh, I hope that was under a minute. I think most of that I went over before anyway, so
Awesome.
you know, self-explanatory.
All right. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. You know, a few things. I love the setting. I think it's a very kind of fun vibe. And I think that's you know, that comes through in here. Definitely, you know, the setting of hell and cooking and stuff. I think it's unique. I think, you know, with the right art style and all of that, it can definitely capture those eyeballs. The thing that I want to challenge you with right now is, you know, you have a lot of systems in here. There's a lot of moving parts. But I'm not quite seeing like the cohesion of like the creative direction. You have a lot of moving pieces and elements that kind of all imply you know, a broader direction. But what I would like to challenge you with is, can you sum up in 10 words or less what is the main objective that the player is trying to achieve in your game? And then in 10 words or less, what do you want the player to feel like? And I think that'll bring a lot of clarity around what inevitably I think is going to be a challenge for you guys as you go into prototyping. Is you're going to have to cut a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things in here. And I would say 90% of it is probably not going to make it into your prototype. And so you want to be able to pick the right things to prototype that are going to get this wonderful vibe that you've kind of come up with across really quickly in a prototype. And so when you start having to make those decisions of what to keep and what not to keep, having those 2 sentences that are 10 words or less, what is the player's main objective of the game, and what are we trying to make the player feel? I think that's going to help you quite a bit as you move into that next stage.
Yeah, definitely. We actually had this this conversation last night of, yeah, there's a lot of, like you said, a lot of moving parts. And we've tried to cut it down just to like have the cooking be just like, you know, almost this like flash like style of like very simple cooking, just, you know, throwing stuff in these magical things, not worrying too much about how realistic that is, or, you know, how accurate that is, and leaning more into that visual novel, like the sort of character interaction that you can get. So yeah, I definitely appreciate that feedback, and good thing that we sort of were already thinking about just reducing this down to like the base elements. But we just want to keep a lot of the stuff in the GDD because obviously this is like the full potential of that idea that we wanted to showcase. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I'm gonna try to mostly. I'm gonna try to mostly. Absolutely, thank you for sharing, Rain. I'm gonna try to mostly shut up and leave it to Joe and Gabe to give the feedback. But this one, I'm excited by this concept. Actually, I think it's interesting. So I still want to throw stuff in. When you first said like Twitch enabled cooking game, that alone is actually a really great little pitch. I feel like. And so this I'm now seeing as a little bit disparate from that original pitch. And I think you could hit that original pitch with like dramatically fewer features, with a fantastic art style, a little bit of visual novel feel for sure. But like what I would imagine is just like Overcooked, probably not with that gameplay, but just think of Overcooked for a second, and each of those orders is from Twitch chat, and that's it.
Yes,
You know,
that is
like,
what we were going for, is
yeah.
is the audience, and then you have to rush. Especially with Overcooked, that was like one of our main inspos. But what me and Wes were talking about, which is what you might say next, is that it's very complicated to balance that complicated cooking process and the stream, like the viewers' orders. So we definitely had to sort of cut some of the like cooking, because I know that the cooking was like the thing that we came into this with as like our basic genre and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome. Wesley, are you politely
Yes.
waiting for something? Yes.
I want to ask Gabe a question. So I think to better articulate the ideas that we have is we kind of have three, I'm going to say pillars, but not like gameplay pillars, but like three core mechanic systems. And that is like the kind of simple drag and drop flash game cooking. There's the visual novel dating that kind of happens in between the three levels. And then there's our idea is this like Twitch integration, or like viewer audience Jackbox style participation of like they get to file the orders or help the player pick like or vote on like visual novel choices or things like that. Aside from, is our option for integrating and trying to achieve these three things, is our option just to scale back and scope back? Is there other strategies from a design perspective to try and integrate and try to make all of these systems kind of harmonious together? Or is it just trying to make it so that they don't step on each other's toes? I guess that's my question.
Yeah, so essentially you have a situation in which you have like, you kind of have like three lanes, right? And I think, you know, a lot of times like you'll have a game that kind of has like three components to it, right? You have your Twitch integration stuff, and then you have your visual novel dating, and then you have your, you know, maybe Overcooked style gameplay. And it can feel like you're building three different games, but you have to remember you're still building one game, right? So all of that has to come together. And so again, I would kind of challenge you to think about it not in terms of those three lanes, but in terms of how those three lanes kind of combine into one cohesive thing. And that is going to be largely driven by your experience goals and the player's main objective, right? And so I think, again, like if you get clarity around the main objective, then you can start to say, okay, well, this is how, it's not just like a random one-off visual novel dating thing that kind of feels like it's tacked on. It's like, no, this actually kind of like it merges in with the core gameplay. And if the core gameplay is cooking, then it's like, okay, well, the visual novel dating needs to support that, right? It's like, maybe, and I'm just spitting off the top of my head, maybe dating someone gives you access to certain ingredients that you wouldn't otherwise have, versus dating someone else gives you something, right? Or like it kind of does need to be cohesive. And so that's usually the challenge when you have a lot of different moving parts, is the temptation is to treat them like separate games. You're making one game, and it needs to be kind of all unified.
I love
Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, beautiful. I'll echo everybody. We just looked at Peak together, and one of the things we all complimented is how few individual systems made a wonderful experience. I know that I'm still working on this over a decade after starting my own career. I know that I tend to solve problems, air quotes, by tacking on more stuff. I'm like, okay, well, here's a problem. If I just do this, it'll solve it. But see if you can solve with less. All right, I want to make sure there's time for some other games. Who else wants to? Who else wants to?
And I'd like to get through as many as possible. So if we can try to keep the specs to like 5 minutes or less, that allows us to get through everything. I do want to I wish I could spend as much time with all of you as possible and go through it. But obviously time is our constraint here. So
we'll do.
Let's blast through it.
We'll do 3 minutes to show off your GDD for the next one. Just tell us the core function. Yeah.
You can go next.
All right, Marco.
So we are presenting the game Ghosties, which is to be emotional Metrovania that tells the story of two brothers that have died. They are ghosts, and they are on a quest to try to regain their humanity. The trademark in here is that you start with a lot of superpowers because you are a ghost, and every time you recover one of your memories, you are losing part of your phantasmagoric powers and gaining parts of material power, like material being. So what I can tell you more
Can you
about.
drop the link to the GDD for us, just so we can easily?
Oh, I can.
Yes.
Give me a sec.
Ooh.
It's there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So
we need access as well. Sorry.
I didn't give you access.
Looks
Probably
like
not.
no. Yeah.
So give me just one more.
You can change it to be anyone with a link can access.
But I did that. But I have several copies. Probably I am with another
Ghosties.
copy open. Yeah, not ghost thief like you wrote.
Yeah.
But,
Here, yeah, for everybody, there was at least 1 or 2 GDDs I couldn't access last night. So if y'all submitted a GDD, which you are still welcome to do, make sure it does have access privileges so that all can view.
it says everyone with the link has access. Let me copy the link right here to see if it goes there.
It's still asking.
Try this one.
Ah, there we go. We're in.
All right.
Okay, I probably was with another one.
Okay.
So let me put this one. So as I was saying, so the 2 ghosts, they are 2 brothers. They are light and soul. You play at a time with one. You can change each one during your adventures because they have different powers, and you need to be cooperative, changing between characters to be able to pass the levels. Basically, the loop is explore the limbo, face the enemies, and solve some environmental changes. Defeat the boss and recover a memory fragment. Lose the ghost ability and gain a human ability. While you try to return to Earth. So, I think in a nutshell, because it's just 2 minutes, I think it's good summarize.
All right. Cool. I want to one thing that I noticed about your concept, which I think is kind of interesting, is this idea that recovering a memory removes the ghost ability that you have and replaces it with a human capability. I think if you're looking at investing in a hook for your game, this is probably an interesting one, because you are essentially changing how the game plays as you progress, right? And I think players tend to love that quite a bit. And it also is a vector for creating interesting choices, right? Especially if the player can choose which memories to uncover and in which order, which I think if you're doing a Metroidvania, that's probably going to have to be a core part of it. That exploration means that you can explore things out of order.
After the prototype, that's the idea. I'm going to linear this for the prototype, but it's the idea for expansion.
Yeah. So I think as far as, that, I would kind of challenge you, okay, like think about how you can use that mechanic as a way to inject meaningful decisions in your gameplay, because I think that's going to be the area where that mechanic shines through a lot. And then I see you have these core emotional pillars, mystery, melancholy, discovery, personal growth. I would also challenge you to put that again, and I'm sorry, guys, if I'm going to sound like a broken record. Try to put that into a single sentence that is 10 words or less about what you want the player to feel, because that's kind of what you're going for here. And you have some keywords here. Try to bring those into kind of a cohesive whole. What do you want the player to feel like? What is the core experience that is going to have that feeling of mystery, melancholy, discovery, and personal growth? Try to come up with a solid sentence. I don't like to use the word elevator pitch, but essentially that's kind of what it is, right? When you say like, what is the experience that this game is going for? You just have that sentence ready to go. Whenever a teammate asks, hey, should we do this feature? Should we do this feature? You just say, hey, well, is it going to make the player feel like this? If yes, then let's keep it. If no, we got to move on. I think those are the two things, but I do really like this mechanic that you've come up with on the memory recovery. I think there's a lot of interesting design possibility space there, and as far as kind of a unique gameplay twist, that's probably where I would focus my attention and energy on.
My question for you: isn't what you told me good in the elevator pitch that we have there?
I'm sorry.
The thing that you asked us to put the game concept in the elevator pitch is not clearly in the elevator pitch. You don't think so?
I wouldn't say so at this point, at least from what I'm reading here, because the key thing here is you're telling me what the narrative is, like what the game is, and you're telling me, you know, some of the mechanics, but what you're not telling me is what the player's experience needs to be, what the player needs to feel, right? That's the important thing. You were making this for someone else and you're trying to give them an experience, and you want to make that, you want to create, you want to be intentional with the experience that you're giving them. And in order to do that, you need to know exactly what the player should be feeling when they're playing your game.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you, Marco. And thank you already to the two teams who have shared, because I know it takes a little bravery to get up on stage and have people be critical of your work. All right. Who's next? Who else wants Gabe to absolutely tear them apart?
I hope that's not how it's coming
No.
up. I love these concepts. I love hearing your guys' creativity and ingenuity.
I'm just coming up. I'm just kidding. Jesse looks like.
All right, Jesse. Step on up. The tearing. I like to have my feedback be more like I'm throwing a teddy bear at you than anything else.
I kind of like how you worded that, because that kind of relates to what my pitch is going to be. But first, I put my link in the chat. Can everyone view it?
We can view it.
Yep.
Would y'all? I'm
if
gonna
you'd
ask.
if you'd like to share, go for it. If not, we can also.
Yeah, I was gonna actually ask that people do screen share as they talk, because then the stream can also see your GDD. I'm not sharing your GDDs with them because I don't want everyone to have access.
See if I can get that up then.
Okay. All right, Carter James is next, and then Josh.
All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
We can see.
Okay, so my game is called Ocean's Obstacles. Essentially, the main objective is that you are a sailor stranded in the middle of the ocean, avoiding obstacles that are thrown at you, whether it is from the game or using Twitch integration, where people can pay like bits and coins to just shuck like more swordfish or barlin or like birds whenever I add them on. I want the player to kind of feel like almost like a badass for just dodging all the obstacles, because they can probably come at various speeds. Or I want them to feel like a court jester where everyone's just throwing tomatoes at them for whatever reason. And for the audience, I want them to feel like, hey, I'm super frustrated because today sucked, but I want to vent my frustrations at something or someone. And this can be a way to do this virtually while not really harming anyone in real life. And I guess for like a story, not much of a story here. But like you're a sailor stranded in the middle of the ocean. There's probably like an island on the horizon, and the sailor has to survive all these obstacles until he finally arrives on shore. They can just go on land and kiss the sand or something. And that's pretty much it. If I spoke too fast, I apologize. So if you need clarification, just ask me any questions you got.
Yeah, no worries. So initial thoughts right off the bat. I think you have a really strong game direction here. It's very clear, both from what the player should be feeling like, right? They're essentially kind of just, a person on stage with tomatoes being thrown at them, and they're there. The objective is clear. You're there to kind of dodge and survive this onslaught. And then there's a clear core experience for the viewership side of it, right? Which is awesome, right? It's like, hey, I get to throw and try to knock out the player. And so what you have here is essentially a PvP game between the audience and the player, which I think is really interesting. And so I think as far as, you know, the emotional and experience objectives, I think you've nailed that. The game objective, I think, is implied here, and that is just like for the player, it's survive, and for the audience, it's knock the player out. I hope I have that right.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I think, you know, you're in a good place to start thinking about the structure, right? How does the game progress over time? Is it round based, right? Like, does the player have to survive for like 10 seconds, and then next round they have to survive for 30 seconds, but the audience now has stronger abilities, and now the player has stronger abilities? I think the other area that you can start thinking about are what are the meaningful decisions both on the audience side and on the player side, right? So on the player side, they survive a round. You know, how are we going to be rewarding them for surviving that round? Giving them an option that is going to help them survive future rounds, I think, is probably the way to go. And on the audience side, you know, giving them options for making it harder for the player. Maybe the audience has to vote amongst themselves on which, you know, I'm just using an example here. It's like if they're throwing tomatoes, maybe now they start throwing, you know, sharks, whatever. But that's something that they would have to vote on. So I think you have, again, I think you have strong direction here. It's a matter of going and figuring out the structure, the agency. I think because you already have a lot of clarity around the objective, I don't see this being a super hard game to kind of communicate through UX. Obviously, there's always going to be challenges there, but very simple, I think very watchable, entertaining for both the audience and for the player. Yeah, this is really cool, man.
Great, thank you.
And Jesse, would you throw your name of the game one more time? I didn't catch it. Even if it's a temp name.
Yeah, Ocean Obstacles.
Ocean Obstacles. I said this in chat, but what I really like about this, Jesse, is even though the actual, like, mechanically this is very simple, as Gabe says, the direction is super clear. We all, like, if you needed 300 people to build this game, I don't think anybody would build the wrong game. We all know exactly what we're building. And it's a really simple concept that could be fun. I could totally imagine. There's a category of Twitch game that I'm forgetting the name, but it's like a session break game. It's like when I need a break in between playing Baldur's Gate 3 and some other super intense game, I play this instead. And I feel like this kind of hits that little target. I do 10 minutes of my audience hucking fish at me, and we all have fun.
Yeah. I could also see this being a Discord game, right? Where you just get with your buddies and you all kind of cycle through on the raft or whatever. I think there's a lot of ways that you can take this, but that core seems really clear.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we had a sort of queue. I think we'll definitely get to 2 more people. If we don't get to 2 more people, if we don't get past those 2 people, what we'll do is we'll start with folks who didn't get a chance to talk with Gabe, and they'll talk with Joe first. I already forget. I think it's Carter James. Yes, it's Carter James. What do you got?
Do I have to go up to the podium? Is that how this works?
No, that's fine. We do want to see you screen share the GDD for the sake of the audience, but otherwise you're good.
Yes. Okay. I will post the link for anyone who doesn't is looking elsewhere, and I will also. Oh, goodness, sorry. This one. Okay. Does that work? Oh, that's the wrong one. I have too many tabs open. Hang on a second. Actually, you know, that's fine. It's just the Word version. Okay. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
Sweet. Perfect. Okay. So welcome to the Kick Tea Cafe, where players will feel like a tea expert who makes friends over a warm drink. So that's the core essence that we're going for. Mechanically, it's players brewing and learning how to brew different types of tea. And in doing so, when players encounter a new customer, you're basically trying to pair the customer with their perfect drink, but you don't know what that is yet. So you have to get to know them. And once you do finally brew their perfect cup of tea and give it to them, then they open up more about who they are, and you get to learn more about them. So it's more of that's where you're making friends. Is you're using your tea, and you're being there to listen to them and communicate with them, and bond with them through tea. As you can see as well, it's all heavily cat based. So every customer that comes in is a cat. So this really fulfills the fantasy of, I know I have this fantasy personally. I just want to befriend every cat I see. And so now you can over a nice cup of tea. The game will be on PC. It's very cozy, sim, conversational, very casual as well. So we're targeting a very niche kind of streaming demographic who know exactly what they want, which is comfy, cozy cats. um, with very simple gameplay. It's not punishing at all. It's very, very comfortable and enjoyable. It's also heavily interesting and dynamic in terms of characters and getting to know them, because it takes time for them to warm up to you and you to brew their perfect tea. The visuals, as I mentioned, to tie into the coziness and the comfort, it's all very soft, bright, colorful, very approachable, and just a feast for the eyes if you're into that, which I am. Yeah. So the rest is kind of more nitty gritty stuff like our competitors and stuff like that. But that's the main concept is you want to make friends, you want to brew the perfect tea, and with that perfect cup of tea, you make friends. It's kind of the concept.
Cool. All right. I love this. This is absolutely my type of game. The type of game that I would be playing on my Switch as I fall asleep in bed. I'm all for these types of experience, and I think at least from what you've kind of shared, I do think you have your experience pretty nailed down. I think you have your objective pretty nailed down. So I think the creative direction is there. I think you just need to be maybe a little bit more explicit about it. Just kind of summarizing what I understood the GDD to kind of reflect the experience goals is you want the player to feel like they're making friends with cats, right? And delivering that in kind of a cozy way, right? So they should feel cozy and they should feel like they're making friends. And then the core objective of the game, at least as far as I understand it, is you want to make the right tea for the right person or the right cat. I think that's great. I think, I know we've just kind of skimmed through it. As far as, going into the prototype, one area of clarity that you'll probably need is what does it mean to make the right tea, right? What, like, when you're making the tea gameplay, right? And I'm getting like real strong, coffee talk or Valhalla vibes here. What is that main objective of making the right tea, right? How does the player do that? How does the player achieve that? What does that gameplay look like? And then also, how do you deduce what the right tea is, right? If you're pulling mechanics from, things like Valhalla, then obviously I think a lot of that groundwork has maybe been laid for you and you can kind of leverage a lot of that kind of design exploration already. But other than that, I mean, this is a clear. I think there's a clear game direction here. I understand what kind of game you're going for. I think your team will too. And then it's just a matter of just being, kind of very specific about that experience. But the bones are there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Remind me the name one more time, Carter James. I keep missing them.
Kitty.
The Kitty Cafe.
Nice. By the way, we've got 3 games on Steam right now, right? Our first sort of tested professional games for the Foundry, and one of them is Whiskers, Wizards, and Wands, where you are a cat wizard and you can make wands. And they are getting the most wish lists during Steam Next Fest. And to the best of our ability, we believe that is because cats, period. We literally are seeing traffic. We literally are seeing traffic directed by the because you liked these games channel, and there's a bunch of cat games. And so when people play the cat games, they get directed to Whiskers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, talk about streamability. You could just throw a cat on stream, and the internet will show up. Like, guaranteed.
Yeah, I've heard of cat videos, but this one's more like cat video games.
Beautiful.
Corgis too.
Noah is next on the list. Noah maybe last for Gabe's time. We are going to do that vote in just a second for the audience, and we'll put the vote in here as well for who gets another 30 minutes with Gabe. But otherwise, we will move on to Joe's office hours in just a moment. And those who didn't get a chance to talk with Gabe will prioritize y'all getting to talk with Joe first. Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. I skipped Josh, I think. Josh, it is your time to talk with Gabe.
Hello. Let me bring my screen. There we are. And you guys can see that, correct? Perfect. Hello, we are Lovingly Sourced, and we are making a game called Degen Devils Horse Racing from Hell. Degen Devils is a horse racing betting roguelike, similar in the vein of Balatro, where to upgrade your abilities, you are drugging your horses. The platforms that it will be on are PC and Steam Deck, hopefully, so that because I know I play a lot of Balatro on my Steam Deck and mobile devices, and I know a lot of other people do, so I think that's really important. The main feeling that we're trying to get the player to feel is they should go through the high highs, the big wins, and the low lows. But maybe not super crushing as if you're actually gambling, of big losses. What our big objectives here are: we want to do well in this game jam. This is my partner's second game she's ever working on, so we want to have fun with that and get some more reps in, and we want to be able to show it off a little bit. Our gameplay pillars are big on synergistic systems. One of the big things for these roguelikes is having one upgrade that plays off of another upgrade, which plays off of another one, and that's where a lot of that fun emergent gameplay comes from, and I think that's a really important aspect of roguelike design. We also want the atmosphere to feel really degenerate. We both live in Vegas. We want to take it back to the good times of Vegas, like in the 90s, and when it was more fun, more degenerate, less MGM and Caesars Corpo, only appealing to high rollers. The narrative for the game is you sold your soul to the devil. You're in a ton of debt. You got to bet on horses to win back enough money so that you can buy your soul back. We're looking for a more retro feeling game, have a bunch of CRT effects, flashing lights everywhere, really just flood the dopamine sensors in your brain as if you were in Vegas. Our target audience is people in their mid-20s to early 30s, going through maybe some burnout periods, because that's when gambling's more fun. We want it to be able for people to pick it up for a quick game, but also be able to think about their builds and try to min-max things, because I know when I watch Balatro streamers, I really enjoy streamers that do that. Highlighted competitors are Balatro, obviously. The mini game of UFO 50's Quibble Race is probably the biggest straight inspiration, because that's another horse racing game, and Slots and Daggers. And that's about the GDD.
Finger clicks. Why are we all such degenerates in this room, y'all? What the hell?
All right. Awesome. So it sounds like kind of the experience goal that you're going for is just a very heavy risk reward type experience where you get that rush of getting that big win, but you're always kind of playing on that razor's edge of I could be losing it all here.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of could just lose everything, but if I win big.
Right. Yeah. And I do like the setting that you have here because I mean, initially the picture that comes to mind here is you're kind of like it's horse betting, right? Like you're almost going to the track, but the track is in hell, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
and so you can see how yeah, that would just that would be a very interesting vibe in general. Like what is the horse race track look like? What are the type of people that go to a horse race track that are in hell, right? Like I think there's a lot of fun to be had there with the theme itself. You know, I am curious kind of, you know, what you see like the main objective of the game is, especially with like the core being, you know, a lot of like horse race betting. Is it just to kind of like amass as much money as possible? And then, you know, kind of how does that support your overall experience? Actually, sorry, before you answer that one, I would actually also like to point out that I noticed that you also had experience objectives for yourself, which I think is great. That's something that I don't think should be discounted. Is what are you trying to get out of making this game? And having that in mind is really awesome. It doesn't necessarily need to be felt by the player, but the fact that you have those, I think that's really cool. But yeah, the original question is, you know, how do you see the main objective? You know, what do you see the main objective is, and then how do you see that playing into the core experience that you're trying to deliver?
Yeah, I don't think I wrote this down per se, but the idea is similar to like how Balatro has blinds where you have like a small blind, big blind, and then you have a boss fight. I was thinking you go through a series of devils that all have a casino that's associated with them. We can steal from the Las Vegas casinos, and you have to beat them in like a bet and have more money, like amass more money by the end of the round of horse betting than they do to then advance to the next devil until you can finally get back to the devil that you sold your soul to.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I like that a lot in that it almost kind of sets up like a betting rivalry, right?
Yeah.
And in each segment, and that also kind of implies a structure as well, which I think is helpful. In that it's you almost have a level based structure, but within that level, you're doing multiple bets, and you could even probably have a narrative that's unfolding with that specific person that you're going up against. Okay, cool.
And that was called Lovingly Sourced?
Lovingly Sourced is our company. The game is Degen Devils Horse Racing from Hell.
Yes. All right, great. All right, so we are just about the end of time. I am going to drop the link to vote for your favorite. So I am going to put it in the gather for all of you as well as to the audience. If you are voting and you are one of the developers, I'm going to ask on our system that you do not vote for yourself. Vote for somebody else. Be good indie devs. Indies together strong. And then one team, the top team from this little segment, will get another 30 minutes with Gabe, as is convenient. Gabe, do you have any last thoughts while I get the link out?
No, I mean, I just want to say thanks for letting me come in here and see your guys' ideas, and thanks for sharing. I know it's always tough to have someone kind of review your work and give you feedback, but I just love the creativity on display here. I love what you guys are doing. And I just love watching developers make their game. So thank you for letting me be a part of that. I really appreciate it.
I can 100% echo that. One of the reasons that I do what I do is because of teaching a Unity engineering course ages ago. And I feel like there was one game where somebody made a Zelda-like with ASCII art. Only it was a 3D Zelda-like, and so you were literally a three-dimensional hashtag symbol, flopping around with a sword and a shield. And everybody else kind of made a little platformer or a little puzzle game. Not that those aren't great, but just that moment of wow, holy shit! I never would have thought of this, and it's so cool that I got to in some small way contribute to it. Was hooked me. So thank you all for giving us your creativity and sharing with us the wonderful stuff that you're making. I have just. You can take a break, Rain. We don't have a scheduled break. We just go. I want to make sure that we have the winner announced before Gabe leaves to make sure that y'all can exchange some contact info. So Gabe, for that 30 minutes, you can schedule it at your convenience. So communicate with the devs to a time that works for both of you. Don't feel pressured. You don't have to take a call at 2 in the morning or whatever. All right. Yeah, why don't we get a round of Fs for Gabe? Gabe, thank you for your time. That was awesome. All right, so I'm going to cut off the vote for our favorite GDD in approximately 15 or 20 seconds. So if you haven't already voted, get into the link in the Gather chat right meow and vote for your favorite. You cannot vote for yourself, please. Audience, of course, we want to see your votes as well. I'm gonna give it 20 seconds. What is your favorite thing here while we wait for people to vote? What was your favorite takeaway from Gabe today? Anyone?
You should be able to describe your player feeling and your game mechanics in 10 words or less, which is difficult.
Which is difficult.
I'm going to say I can speak.
Beautiful. Anyone else? Amazing. I will echo that one. It is remarkably difficult, and I don't know, Gabe. You can comment on this. It took me a really long time to start to really realize this. It's remarkable what a challenge like creative communication is. It is like when you first start making a game, you will write a super lengthy GDD and you're like, yeah, it's very obvious what we're making. I know exactly what this is. And then you'll go talk to, let's say, your engineer, and they're building something like completely different. It is remarkable how much cohesive creative direction takes.
Yeah. Communicating your ideas is much harder than you think, right? But actually, one small takeaway that I would leave you guys with, it's actually a really fun exercise, is the 10 words or less for the experience and the objective. That's a great way to kind of browse the Steam library or the Steam store, right? Look at a game like Peak and be like, what is the player supposed to feel like in 10 words or less? For me, my interpretation of Peak is the player is supposed to feel like they are on a chaotic adventure with their friends, and it delivers that experience in spades. And then what is the core objective in 10 words or less? I don't even need 10 words. Reach the top of the mountain, right? And you can do that for every single game that you see on Steam. And it's a really kind of great way to build that muscle of describing games in that way, so that when you have to describe your own game, you've gotten those reps in, right? It's just one of those things that, yes, getting it down to 10 words or less is really, really hard. But you can practice it, and it starts to become second nature over time.
Beautiful. All right, I am ready to announce the winner of our, the third audience boon now, the GDD review vote. So this team will get 30 minutes with Gabe. Y'all can schedule together that time. Here we go. Our third place is Kitty Cafe. Congratulations, well done. Our second place is Ghosties, Metroidvania. And our first place is Ocean Obstacles. Twitch chat throws fish at you. Yeah, well done. I want to point out.
All right.
Yes, I want to point out. Like, I feel like if we were just like looking at screenshots of each of these games, I probably wouldn't be like, yeah, throw fish at guy is like the top vote, or I wouldn't think like, yeah, we're all gonna love that game. But probably what's at play here is the clear direction. We know what that game is. We know how it will play. We know it will be fun. We can all clearly picture it and clearly see ourselves playing it. So well done to Jesse. Jesse and Gabe. Gabe, before you log off, would you go and do contact info with Jesse and figure out how to get your 30 minutes in?
Yeah. How do you do DMs in Gather? Is there DMs?
I think there is. Send chat. Oh yes. So right click on Jesse and hit send chat.
Right click on Jesse.
On Jesse's little guy, little character, little PC.
Right, where are you?
Jesse's towards the front there, right in front of me.
Aha, I see you.
Once again, Gather is worse in every way than other Zoom calls, but it's better. You know what I mean? All right, it's time for us to switch over to our second and last office hours of the weekend, actually. We have some other fun stuff scheduled throughout the week. Tim and I will actually be playing all of your games together post-submission. And before Joe leaves today, I will have a couple of last things just to make sure everybody remembers their milestones and such. Why don't we get one more round of Fs? Thank you, Gabe. That was rad. All right, so we got some time to talk about making our games fun to play and clearly creatively aligned. Now let's talk about getting people to actually click on our games, getting those ever difficult eyeballs. So welcoming back to the stage is Joe Leiter with his name somehow janked up. Let's give a big round of Fs to Joe.
Hello. Hello. Good to be back. Hope you had a good time yesterday. I did. Yes.
The F key.
It's so long. Holy shit. All right. So before we get into this, I was thinking about the prompts earlier, and I was looking at Gamealytic to get some updated info, and I kind of had this like realization of like, oh, why Peak was a success. And if you look at it, I can share. Let me share this just really quick.
Careful what you share.
I know it's just my one Chrome tab. Don't worry. So you see here, 16 million copies sold. That's insane. How did they do that? They made it in a couple months or a month or whatever. You have these two studios involved. Aggro Crab's done semi-successful indie games in the past. They were falling on financial hard times right before this game came out. Obviously, that's not the case anymore. Landfall, for example, had made a game called Content Warning. Content Warning in its own right made $35 million, and it's basically the same thing as Peak. The tech is already there. And then we can look back further. We see a game like Repo, which is also a similar kind of game, has sold 18 million copies and was released prior to that. I think this is all to say this is indicative of the trends and kind of refining what I was saying yesterday of having a diet of media that you consume and trying to follow what's going to happen so you can align what you want to create with not necessarily to like chase trends, but to kind of predict what's going to get people's attention in one way or another. I think that you should do exactly what you want to do, but finding these things that can bring success, like cats on Steam as a tag. Or this current wave of experience-based multiplayer games. I just had that thought. It's really, I think the team that did it had experience in this kind of game and was really able to lock in and define what they're doing and worked efficiently to make it. And they had partnerships and business developments and friendships, I'm sure, with people that are really good at complementing that with marketing. So again, it's all about getting out there. It's talking to people, making friends, making collaborations. Because this is an interesting setup too. Because Team Peak is like 4 or 5 people, and there's 2 separate publishers attached to it. So that just shows it's definitely a power of friendship happening there too. So that's just my little preamble ramble, and I'm going to shut up and listen now. I really want to emphasize speedy delivery, efficiency in what you say, and I'm really looking forward to hearing the pitches. I heard some of them already, and they're really cool. So.
Amazing. Joe, could we get you to go back to that slide you had from yesterday where you go over what you want to see in a pitch?
Oh, yes. Give me 1 second. Of course, I'm not prepared, but here we go. Yes. What would I like to see in a pitch? Here we go. Share. Yes. Quickly. Concise concept, good name, a hook, pillars of design and execution, originality, soul, and evidence you play other indie games, and evidence of a diet of other media, which I think I should definitely actually add to this. But
would you copy and paste that into chat too, and then people?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. It might be all. Yeah, that's okay. All right, cool. Neat.
One other thing I want to hear. So we were just sort of pitching. We were going over the GDD with a design expert, a creative expert. How should these pitches differ from what we just had with Gabe?
I was thinking that as well. Well, pitches, to be totally fair with you, the point that you're at with a project right now would not be when you would want to pitch it to a publisher, ideally. So I am going to look at this from a point of like growth. And obviously something that's very important that isn't factored into this necessarily is the financial aspect of a pitch. It's actually a very important part of this. I know that's not really being considered because right now what you have is a design document. There are differences, sure. I would basically say take your design document and condense it even more. That whole concept of like 10 words or less, try to do that, but like 10 sentences maybe. Basically give me like the description on your Steam page. Why do I want to play this? It's a very like, it's a sell me this pen moment if you're familiar with Wolf of Wall Street. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Concise, effective, creative communication actually too was a really good point as well. Just do your best to sell me on what you got.
All right.
It's not really a science, and it is flexible. So have fun.
Beautiful. All right. So putting you on the spot, Noah, you were next in line. Are you ready to pitch the one and only Joe Leiter? Joe, am I saying your last name right? Is it Joe Leiter?
No, you're not. It's okay. It's Leiter,
fuck.
but I don't want to. Yeah, why don't you bring it up? So.
Joe Leiter. My bad. Noah, okay. You want to pitch Joe? Do we have a Noah?
Do I need to leave the podium? Do I need to get out of here?
Not necessarily. It's sort of fine. Is Noah still in the chat? Oh, Noah's here. Noah, can you hear us? We can't hear you.
Noah.
Okay, how about now?
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Sorry about that.
And we'll do the same thing. I think I'll do a timer for 3 or so minutes, and if you start
3 minutes,
if you start getting gratuitous, I'm gonna kick you off. Yeah.
3 minutes is a long elevator ride. So let's go. All right.
Whenever you're ready, Noah.
Yeah, please. It's okay.
I think we're having tech.
We're gonna run these quick. We can roll with somebody else and come back to you if you need.
Yeah, you just we'll do that. We'll have you next. No, you'll definitely have time. So Rangolia is the other person who was waiting.
Yep.
Are you ready?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Do I need to get on the stage?
No, we can all hear you. You're good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't really prepare for a pitch, but I'm just gonna make it into a pitch by sharing my GDD.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Right. Can you see this?
Yep.
All right. So our game is called Chop Chop, and when we reviewed the theme, which is streamability, the first thing that came up to my mind is basically multiplayer game and how to make this game fun and entertaining to just by watching it. So the first game that came into my mind was the game that is called Two Player Chain Together. I'm sure people play it. It's just really fun to look at people just kind of like struggling with the game, and also another game called a difficult game about climbing. So basically what we wanted to do is just a fast-paced cooking simulator where two players control different body parts of one character. So it's like we want to do this because my partner is actually working in a kitchen, so he always saying how busy it is in the kitchen and how difficult to how the environment is so chaotic and how to make it work is extremely overwhelming and really difficult. So we just wanted to put the character in a chaotic environment and trying to bring order. The game is trying to give players a frenetic energy of working in a real commercial kitchen. Yeah, that's basically how the game is. We have since none of us is art, so we're just gonna go with like very simple kids drawing or 8-bit art style. As for there's some like design pillars and sound, music, and game loop. That's pretty much it.
Cool. Yeah, you did with a minute and 13 seconds to spare. Pretty cool. My first initial knee-jerk reaction as a publisher is I think you're missing out a lot with the art style because you're running a simplistic and 8-bit where when you have this like possible tension between these two players that are doing something together, having some level of like physics is I think super valuable. And even not being an artist, because I know that's the idea. It's like we're not artists. There's so much free or very cheap assets that you can use for 3D and physics engines that are built into modern game engines. So I would say my first thought with this would be to try to experiment with that. The concept I think is very strong. There's a lot of stuff similar to this, but I think it can stand out, especially if you do something with an art style, whatever art style you do, it should stand out. I think it would be not great to kind of just fall into the same kind of arts. I see it so much where everything looks like Peak now. Everyone has these like they're like pastel colored round characters, and it's like it's starting to get a little old. So I would say avoid that. But yeah, really cool pitch. I would love to see more, and especially like artwork and stuff around this. So that's cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Noah, we good?
Yes, I should be good now. If you guys can hear me. Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Let's roll.
Yep. So here, let me share my screen. And same thing, I'll just be going off of our design doc. I didn't have a separate pitch slideshow or anything made. But the name of our game is The Philosopher's Stone. It's a dark, tarot-inspired arcade racer where a memoryless hero, the Fool, races through symbolic trials of the major arcana while wielding the minor arcana to reshape the world and reclaim his identity. So included here are kind of some examples and just concept art of what the Fool would look like, because what you'll see here is the Rider-Waite tarot cards, kind of giving inspiration, which they're actually also not copyrighted. So I mean, technically we should be able to use them if we wanted to now, since they are fairly old. But the main character makes their way from progression of the Fool being, not having any memories. And as they progress through the levels of the game, they will get their memories and, achieve wholeness with the world. So the main design pillars, it's adrenaline fueled. So as you're racing with the chariots, it's all fast paced, kind of like Mario Kart, where you'll be dodging items, and the items being kind of the minor arcana cards that I mentioned. So there'll be a whole deck that are essentially in play while you're going through the game. One of the other pillars that I hope this makes sense is that the main thing that I'm trying to get across is the symbolic transition going from the tarot archetypes. And I feel like the main, kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's, it's like I want there to be a lot of lore, behind the game.
Yeah.
But since as the fool, you're starting with no memories, as you make your way through each level, it's like more of the world kind of evolves and you kind of start to understand where you came from and where you're going, ending in the world card. And the last pillar, of course, just being fun. You know, you always got to build off of fun. The player should leave the game wanting to play it again and just being curious about what else is in store. So main genre, of course, it's arcade battle racing. I think that's kind of the main feature we would focus on. Like, it's kind of hard with this to break it down because like I do want a lot to go into this game, but of course for the game jam, we're kind of keeping it simple. So the arcade battle racing is going to kind of be the main aspect. But diving a bit more into the story, like I said, you awaken without memory, and as the fool, you go through these 21 symbolic trials, being the major arcana, and each arena represents a new psychological or archetypal transformation. Like one of the major arcanas is actually the death card as well. So one of the worlds you'll go through or race through will be all, you know, like it'll look like the underworld. You know, it'll look like you're fighting Hades and stuff with skeletons around. So like each world will have its own kind of unique art style and own kind of archetypal themes behind it. And at the end of your journey awaits the Philosopher's Stone, which is the truth of your identity. And each player should walk away with their own Philosopher's Stone. In a way, it's kind of the fun of the game. But the main core mechanics is that it'll be third-person chariot racing. This is kind of an example of the chariot is another major arcana card, so that was kind of the inspiration behind it. So, you know, during these racing aspects, you know, you'll kind of be racing against other NPCs in the game that are more conducive with like the map or world you're in, but for like more like local play options, you know, we're also thinking about having it to where you can go ahead and race against, you know, your friends and other players as well. And yeah, Coliseum style symbolic areas, dynamic environments, altercation, or alteration. Sorry.
To let you know, no, we're at a little over 3 minutes here, but I do, if you want to just scroll through really quick to kind of get
Yeah.
I can read off stuff to my, like I'm understanding kind of like the main concept. You like at this point, yeah, it's we would be diverting from like going over GDD to pitch, but I think the initial, like the first 3 minutes, you did summarize the game well enough. It makes me it makes me interested. It's a really cool concept. I would like to see. I like that you have something up, like any kind of art that you're showing. Anything at all is great. Yeah, I was gonna say Nightmare Cart. I know is definitely a big inspiration here.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Nightmare Cart, you might have heard of it as Bloodborne Cart. And then the dev was forced to change the name for obvious reasons. It's actually free on Steam if you want to check it out. Shameless plug. They're a really cool developer. She's great. Sorry to go off on a tangent, but I think something that I'll pick up to share as knowledge with the rest of the group off of this is I highly encourage you to make a mood board for what you do. I do it whenever I approach anything creative, and it's it's an exercise in building your diet of media and your diet of literature, your diet of music, anything like that. So sometimes a mood board for me will be pictures of movies that I feel like exemplify what I'm working on, or pages of a book, or even songs. Sometimes I've had writing projects of my own where I just have like a playlist on Spotify that I'm like, this is how I feel writing this. It's important to do that, I think, creatively, and it in lieu of not having a game to show or play or anything like this. Communicating that through reference is very, very important. So I would encourage you, if you don't have a mood board for your project, and if you can carve out a little bit of time to sit and think about some things that it's like, well, this is like this, or it's like, why am I making this? Is it because I like this thing, or like this thing inspires me? So it's a good exercise. So definitely encourage that. Thank you for the pitch. The game looks really cool. It's a game that I would play for sure.
Thank you.
I don't know, whoever is next, let's keep it moving.
Awesome. So we don't have anybody else on deck. Anybody who has not yet spoken about their game, who would like to speak about their game?
I guess I might as well.
All right, Roberto,
So,
you've
I might
got
as well-
the. Yeah, if you can share your GDD, you've got your 3 minutes once you're ready.
Well, so I'm actually listening to listening to this on my phone, and I do have the GDD, but it's on my laptop.
Okay.
I
Do you want to share?
hold on.
Can you share the link, maybe at least?
Yeah, if you can link it, I can take a peek while you talk about it.
Sure. Here. I do have the link. Where do you want me to post the link?
Put it in the gather chat, the room chat.
Yep.
Okay. Gather. Hold on for a second. Might have to give me some time for.
That's fine. If there's anybody else that's interested, we can come back to you, Roberta. We should have enough time for at least 2 or 3 more in addition. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, is there anybody else who has not yet spoken? I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to talk with at least Joe or Gabe. If not, we can go back to those who already spoke with Gabe.
I don't have a GDD, unfortunately. Like we did have, but unfortunately, it's not exactly what we planned. So I'm able to pitch it a little bit about the game, and maybe even like show a little bit of this. But
Sure.
Unfortunately, I do not have a GDD to show. The game is a local multiplayer couch co-op. So the players, so it's very similar to how you remember at the past there was the game called like the water girl and the fire boy. So the 2 kids that are playing on the same keyboard, and this was a cooperative game. So we actually went very similar style, but this time we are going for a competitive. So the players are actually fighting over the keyboard more than playing together collaborative. So the game is Sailor of the Month. So the players are going to fight over the title of the Sailor of the Month. They're going to play through a couple of mini games that are going to be randomly added to the game, and each mini game is going to be quite different. So very much arcade-like. One of the first game that we're working on for the game jam is Clean the Deck, and this is going to be the players are going to have 10 pieces of like trash that are going to be scattered around the deck, and they are going to be collecting it and throwing it at each other. So I can share it, but is it like I'm not sure. It's like I can share it, but let me.
As long as we're still, Joe, are you timing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
as long as you're within the 3 minutes, I think yes. Feel free to share.
Okay, it's a bit of just the first prototype, but yeah. So they're going to have like 2 players here that are going to be running around, and each is going to be collecting like trash, and they're going to be like trash cans that the players can like put them to score a point or throw them at the other person and make them have like a dizzy animation, this kind of stuff. And this is pretty much one minigame. In each minigame, they're going to score a point that it could be like or just 1 or 3 points or 5 points, depends on how big the scale is going to be. And beside like the mini games, they're very different. So we thought about like having like like the pull the rope. So they are going to pull the wheel. Each player is going to kind of like steer to their own side, and whoever is like made it the ship to steer to their direction, they are going to win. And they're going to have like other mini games like shoot like a target. So they have like cannons. So they have like like an enemy ship that they want to like to fight over who is going to kill the most. And this is kind of the style of the mini games. And that is pretty much it.
Awesome. So we have a bunch of devil-themed games this cohort for whatever reason, and we have a bunch of ship nautical-themed games.
Yeah, that was perfect 3 minutes too. That was cool. Yeah, I think that's a strong concept. I would say my one worry is kind of structuring a jam or a prototype game off of the idea of many different little games. I think it's something to keep in mind is develop your tooling and any engineering that you need to like prop up those new instances of different game modes or different mini games. Make sure that is strong as you're going into this. I'm also just really quick. I'm giving more codes away. Enjoy. It's for our other game, Shooty Robot Invasion. So if you grab one of those codes, I really hope you enjoy it. I didn't want to put them in chat in the middle of a pitch and distract. So take a minute or two and redeem those as you can, and and enjoy. So
I will add to the thing that you said about like the mechanics. We did thought about it, and we thought that all the mini games are going to have based on very simple concept that is going to be movement and one button that are going to be pressing. So
that's wise.
So all the mini games are going to be pretty much based on this, like just moving around and having a one button to press.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I think that keeps it within like a more doable. It's just so again, this is like pitch psychology, right? And I guess understanding the objective here, and like producer mind for me as well. When I hear a dev say, we're gonna do like a jam game but it's actually like 10 different mini games, I'm immediately like, oh my god, what? Like please, like just let's. But your method makes sense. That's
we're going to keep all the mini games in the same concept. That's the thing.
Cool.
They're very different, but thinking.
Very easy producer mindset. A piece of advice for you specifically for the jam is, even though the final game probably will have 12, 20, 30 different mini games, for the jam, do like 3 and do 3 well. Like give us like a 3 to 5 minute enjoyable experience to show what it will be like to move between mini games and stuff. But don't try to do like 10 half-baked ones in the span of a jam.
Yeah, we're not. We thought about like, okay, we're going to do 1 game, and then we have more time. We're going to do 3 games, and then we'll see.
That's wise. Yep.
Awesome. All right. So next we have Roberto. Thank you so much for Sailor of the Month. That was beautiful. And next is Roberto. Roberto, you've got 3 minutes.
All right. I'm going to share my screen. All right, so can anyone see it?
I see. Yep.
This is my GDD. So this is my idea for the jam, since it's around like streamability. So, and of course like friend slot type. So this is one of the ideas, and it's called Criminal Mischief, and it's basically like a multiplayer game where like 1 to 4 players can like cause as much mischief and mayhem as possible, like commit crimes like vandalism, stuff like that, which is what criminal mischief means. And so the objective is to basically commit like many crimes like in a time limit until like while avoiding law enforcement, police and stuff like that. And I want players to experience like causing like mischief and mayhem and causing like destruction and stuff. And it's inspired by games like Grand Theft Auto, like Payday, other games like that. And the art style I'm gonna go for a much more cartoonish art style, because I feel that it fits like the game, like, because when you think of cartoons, you think of like mischief, like craziness, wackiness, stuff like that. And then I came up with some ideas as well for the game. Like one idea is that while you're causing trouble, like if there's like witnesses, like NPCs and stuff, they may step in. Like some may call the cops, but then others may step in and be like what's called good Samaritans, stuff like that. And of course, you're gonna have to like fight them and get them off you and stuff like that. And I'm also thinking like adding like other crimes to it, like theft, stuff like that. Like it may be crimes like stealing a candy from a baby. I may add that in there. And I'm thinking that maybe I'll also add some like rare NPCs like vigilantes, like stuff like that may step in and like fight you. And of course, since there's like vandalism in the game, I'm also gonna add some. There's gonna be like melee weapons mostly, and I may add some guns in there, stuff like that, and there'll be like unlockable like weapons and stuff like that and tools as you progress in the game. Yeah, so there's like this fun like sort of like a friend slot game where like players like with co-op and stuff like that, and yeah,
yeah. We're at 3 minutes. That sounds really cool. I think something I take away from this, again, like kind of what I'm trying to do here is like take in pitches because it's, you know, do I like everything I hear from everybody? Yeah, of course. It's cool. People are making games. I love it. But I really want to give you like kernels of wisdom with each one of these. And I think a really cool thing that you've kind of done here is take a classic idea that's kind of ingrained in the minds of people that play games. For example, the like wanted system in Grand Theft Auto. If I say that, if somebody in this class just heard me say the wanted system in Grand Theft Auto and have no idea what I'm talking about, I'd be pretty surprised. But that is to say, taking a concept like that and making like a whole game around it, and then kind of throwing something different into it, like the cartoonish style, the fact that it's more centered around multiplayer. Maybe it's not quite as like vehicular based all the time, and it's less like violent and more like vandalism, like kind of stuff. I think that's a really cool idea. And I think if you can nail what makes it fun, which is just the chaotic nature and these systems like working together, which is can be some pretty, I don't know your background, but it can be some pretty intense programming for NPC behavior and things like that. That's going to be something that you're going to run into. I think there's a lot that goes into that, but again, they don't have to be smart. They're supposed to be dumb, which is a funny thing. If you haven't played Goat Simulator, I think that's another one that really gets this down. If you want to like a little different of an idea, Untitled Goose Game as well is a really cool example of something that kind of uses the Grand Theft Auto wanted system in a really weird way. Obviously you're a goose, people chase you and take your objectives, but also taking candy from a baby needs to be a Steam achievement for sure. That's where I think it belongs. But that's really cool, man. I love that idea. I think if you can execute on it, it would be a lot of fun. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. This reminds me of Who's Your Daddy? Are you familiar with that one, Joe?
No, hold on. Let me see if I don't know this one.
Oh, you would actually love this game. I feel like this is right up your alley. It's a multiplayer game, 2-player. One player is a baby trying to kill itself, and you are its dad. The other player is its dad.
This game or something, and it was a really fun. I think I have seen this before, but I never played it. That's good stuff.
Ridiculous. Sahara, you're going to be next while you get set up. I'll say to you, Roberto, and Roberto, you can stop sharing your screen as well. My scope alarms are definitely going off for you on this one. That's a lot of work what you just described. If you basically had to make Grand Theft Auto to make it fun, that's a lot of stuff to build. So I would ask you, is there a way to simplify but still keep the magic? So for instance, everybody thinks it's funny that you're stealing candy from a baby. So could it just be steal candy from a baby game? I don't know. Maybe consider something like that.
Well, maybe I could make that part of a level, or maybe The way I see it, it's like you start with like the players are placed in like in a location, and the goal is to like just cause as much mayhem like in the environment.
Yeah, I think you can make it like a fun physics sim maybe or something like that. But awesome. I'm gonna make sure, Roberto, that Sahara has a chance here to talk.
Work.
But thank you for giving us your thoughts. All right, Sahara.
I love.
Yeah.
The full screen doesn't work.
Oh, my screen share doesn't work? Wait, hold up.
No, I see it.
Oh, you guys see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Josh, they see it. Sorry. Josh is coming in my office, interrupting. Sorry. Okay, so this is a degen. Wait, can you
no,
not
he's
see
right.
it?
Yeah, once you go full screen,
No,
it
now
like
it's-
blurs
Okay.
out for some reason.
Yeah, just run it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
weird.
like
We all get it.
Yeah.
This is D-Gen Devils horse racing from hell. Who are we? We are lovingly sourced. It's me and Josh. Josh and I have been together for 2 years. He's a software engineer who mostly works back end. He worked on casino software before. Josh, I don't know if you want to say anything else.
Yeah, most of my professional career I spent writing online casino software for Las Vegas Sands until they decided that they didn't want that anymore. But then I was at GitHub for a little bit too. And Sahara, my lovely partner, is doing a lot of art.
Yeah, I'm a full-time artist, and we kind of decided to have a little creative baby together, and that's what that is. So this game revolves around gambling, Vegas's favorite thing. The whole entire point is that you sold your soul to the devil, and you're trying to buy it back by winning back your money, betting on horses. That's the only game you play in the casino. You rig the odds by drugging your horses with different substances, which all the other horses also do. It's kind of like a grimy Vegas underground thing that like everyone's just into. The core loop gameplay is you buy drugs for your horse, you build synergies between the drugs to make powerful horses, and then you bet on your horse, hopefully before the race. You see how the drugs interact because all of the horses are drugged up, and which one will win its payout. The pillars of design is, building out a cool build that you think would work together, and we want the player to have a degenerate win big, lose big, kind of like a roller coaster, kind of like an addictive, evil roller coaster. And here's some of our horses. It's kind of Cult of the Lamb inspired. Like, I kind of wanted cute horses for sure, but like in this grimy, smell like cigarette smoke casino. And yeah, that's what we have so far.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. I think there is some there's things that we have to always keep in mind as game developers when it comes to gambling. But I think that the idea here is really, really strong and kind of plays into a lot of the like newer games, because I heard the game design pitch earlier, comparing it to like Balatro. There's I was trying to find it to show it in here. I mean, I posted a Warlord Baby Trade or Space Warlord Baby Trading Simulator, which has like some there's elements of that kind of bring to me from this, and they had a previous game too. It was like Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator, similar concept. There's I really want to find the name of this game, and I think this might be like the biggest downfall for them is like not for you, but for this group. I can't think of the name of this game, but it's like a horse racing simulator, but it's like kind of ridiculous, or it's like super lo-fi. I see this guy's posts all over the place. So there's a market for
Is that a horsey game that came out recently?
No. It's I can't. He'll come across my like.
Sure.
I'm sure, and I'll. But it's basically like just like there's horse races that happen, or it's like an emergent piece of like content that people are using to market their games, which is like they make these fake simulated like horse races and post them, and now they're like making a game where you can like influence the outcomes of those. So I feel like this is like in a very similar lane. But it's really cool. Oh, found it. I knew it would just come up. Horse race tests. Life is pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'll throw that in here.
Was that the one on Twitter?
Yes, it's all over the place. I see it all the time.
Yes, yeah, this is definitely like something we were inspired by for the streamability component.
Yeah.
We kind of want, yeah.
That's cool.
Of course you would know about this game, Joe. What the hell is this?
It's horse race tests. Life is pain is what it is, and it's really cool. I'm looking forward to this one a lot. But yeah, no, super sick concept. Kernel of knowledge. I would say on this one, just continue to be mindful about, especially saying. You've worked in casinos, you know how this is. Just be mindful of your ethics with stuff like this. We want to overload dopamine, but we want to do it in an ethical way. So not to get into the entire. There's a lot to this, but
definitely we know.
You seem like your heart's in the right place, for sure. So yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it.
This one I feel like has great like viral potential. Because it sounds like something you'd click on, like period.
I would say as far like if I hate to try to target virality because it's such a flash in the pan kind of thing. What I would I think another kernel of knowledge for you is the content around advertising this game will be easy to make because it's also in line with directly with the development of your game, which is a whole other thing. It will not take as much time away from developing your game to market it, which is important because I've worked on a lot of projects where that takes a lot of time from it. And for a lot of developers, they have to stop, get out. Some of them make tools to get in engine to do to get right camera angles and get footage for trailers and stuff like that, where you can just have these fake horse races going and people eat it up because it's fun to watch because which one's going to win. I just released a new a video update for the company yesterday, and I have two elements of these fake little horse races in there because I thought they were really funny. And my my guy that does my special effects and stuff was like, "Hey, can I do these?" And it's like, "Yeah." So it's cool. Yeah, I think it's very in right now too.
It's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Give us your last thought.
Yeah, sorry. I tried to make some all the horses different so you could have a favorite horse because I know that's my favorite part of the Twitter game. I'm diehard orange, and that says a lot about me.
I think it's funny with the colors and stuff because the old conventions of the horses and horse races having crazy ass names that's another thing I think there's a lot of potential there. Either color identity or just really really funny names. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you for that. We've got Connor. Connor might be last. We should stop at 10 past so that we can do a vote. So Connor, let's get you up here.
You see me?
Yes.
Great. Okay. All right. So the name of my title is I Have to Have Pizza or I'll Explode.
Me too.
So the name, the concept rather, is you eat pizza or you explode. You eat too much pizza, you still explode. You eat a healthy balance of pizza, and you'll survive to be the king of pizza. The goal of the game is to become the king of pizza on the floating pizza pie in the sky that hovers over like an airship over Italy, where the origin of pizza comes from. It's dripping cheese from the floating pizza pie in the sky. And I was thinking you get an airship or just a regular private plane that can go from Martha's Vineyard, explore type of game. But it's actually based on inspired by a real memory from childhood. Something I actually said I think a lot of people can relate to, ridiculous childhood memories, like the child you were when you were 5, who loved pizza, loved video games, loved stories, that whole, at least for me, but it's a story I've held on to for so long. As a writer, I thought it was great, and I was realizing a couple of years ago, this would make a game. This is a funny title. So originality, the soul, it's coming from real life, but it's imagined game. It's coming from something that I actually said when I was little. But for originality, you really can't beat coming from something inspired from our life. But this is something I would have loved to play when I was little, I'm sure. And as for games that resemble it or other indie games, Pizza Tower is a surrealistic thing that's maybe got me thinking about that. Is that it's maybe a bit of a niche, but it's people like pizza. I like pizza. I definitely liked pizza when I was little enough to say I have to have pizza or I'll explode. But it's cute, but it's also got the explosions, which I think people like. I like games like Bomberman growing up. It's one of my favorites. Strategic, but as for the actual gameplay, like I said, you have to have pizza or you'll explode. But if you have too much, you still explode. So you have to have a healthy balance. So there's a message in there, kind of hidden inside the pizza game. But in addition, you can save. There's a question like I was thinking, well, you can save the game. Yeah, of course you want to save the game. The pizza places will be a sanctuary where you can actually save the game. So when you get pizza, you can save. And it's cultural exchange. It's pizza tourism, which is an actual thing. So people can actually explore. For a higher level vision, I had this idea as being like pizza tourism, augmented reality. We can actually interact with real pizza places. I'm not there yet, but I'd love to do that. And one feature that I would love to see in it, the technology was there for it, was pause for pizza. We can actually order delivery within the game.
Oh shit, that's awesome. That's in 3 minutes, but do you have a document? Do you have any?
I do. Yeah, I sent it. Did it not get in, or I can't share. It's not opening up right now.
Let's see.
Can you drop the link for us in the chat there? Did you already do that?
I might have missed it. If you did, I just overlooked because I was. Can you kind of really quickly also explain like the like the perspective? Is this a first person game? Is it third person? Is it a board game? Like how does this what is this? Like the concept is very strong. Like this is a kernel of knowledge real quick too. Let me open up the drive here. This is a great way to start your concept and to like ideate on what you're doing. This is a cool idea. I really like something that you said that resonated was this is the kind of game that I would like when I was a kid. Like I would have enjoyed to play, and I think that's important to think of sometimes. And it's kind of how we can pull stuff forward. Yeah, let me look at. So yeah, if you want to explain just really quick, I'm running through some of this here.
Yeah. I'm open to the fact that it might need some iteration still, but that's what prototypes are for, feedback.
Sure.
But I think the general premise is good. I also want hot peppers and hot sauce in it. I do like hot sauce and peppers in my foods. I want those to be the power-ups with the Scoville meter, so it actually can speed you up. It's a driving game.
It's a driving game.
It's a driving game. You drive for pizza place in the maze. It's like Pac-Man, but in a city. So every major city represents the unique type of pizzas that are around the world. Like Chicago is deep dish, Boston is thin crust, and if people compete over what's the best one, I think, well, it's unique. It's cultural. It's cultural exchange. Everyone has a different type of pizza. It's like the Olympics of pizza.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. No. Fun pitch. I hope to see it kind of materialize. And I just keep my biggest advice to you is just keep the same like energy as you're going through to implementing some of this, because it's fun. It's the soul shines through this for sure. Absolutely.
And I should mention too that I do want a pizza party mode for multiplayer, because I figured because it's party pizza party, you have to have online multiplayer. If you could do that, that'd be amazing. But yeah, I mean,
beautiful.
It's good stuff, man.
All right, so I have the vote ready for everybody's favorite pitch. Once again, please do not vote for yourself. I'm dropping it to the audience on the stream, as well as right here in the chat. You'll see it in the Gather chat. So vote for your favorite pitch that we just had today. That will be our last pitch. Joe, as people vote, do you have any last words of wisdom for us, or last thoughts, or whatever?
Did you guys ever play that old Lego Island game where you're like delivering pizza? You remember what I'm talking about? It was like, this is back in the day. I'm showing my age. I don't know.
Wasn't that like the first Lego game?
It was one of the first Lego games, and it was awesome. It was like Grand Theft Auto for kids, dude. You could like deliver pizza. That's my last words of wisdom. Go play the Lego Island. Hold on, was it Lego Island pizza game? What is this called? Lego Island Pizzeria. Yeah, Lego Island Pizza Delivery. Yeah, go play Lego Island Pizza Delivery. That's some words of wisdom. But in actuality, I think it's a really good exercise to be able to condense down your concept into 3 minutes. Even less than that is good. If you can do it for 3 minutes, you can do it in 2 minutes, then you can do it in 1 minute, then you can do it in a sentence. I don't want to go too overboard, but yeah, it's just, when I tell people or like ask what Brazilian drug dealer is, I just say like, oh, it's surreal Quake. And if they don't know what Quake is, I say, oh, it's like a surreal boomer shooter, or it's like a retro shooter, or it's like Roblox. I even say to children, I tell them it's like Roblox, so they'll play it, because there's not actually any drugs in the game. I just want that to be clear. So it's safe for the whole family. So
that's pretty interesting to change per the audience. That makes a lot of sense. I don't think
it's also a very easy game in like the easier modes. Like Jovino has said that he likes it to be like, because it's introducing a lot of people to these like retro FPS for the first time. So we want it to be approachable, but you can crank it up and make it really, really difficult too if you want. So that's the idea. Yeah, not to get on a tangent, but yeah.
Amazing. We get like 1 or 2 more questions. For voting for your favorite game pitch from today, you have another 30 seconds or a minute. So make sure you get the vote in. The link is in the Gather chat and all of the stream chats. Any last questions for Joe? Maybe we could do like 1 question, and then we'll announce the winner and then get out of here.
Sure, yeah.
Any questions for Joe?
How did you meet your team?
So I was given the pitch to the first developer that I started working with, who made Shooty Robot Invasion. As I was working with them, I had a marketing rep at Keymailer, which is like how I send a bunch of keys to like influencers and stuff. And they said, hey, you should reach out to this guy making this crazy game because he uses our services too. And I talked to Jovino about bundling Shooty Robot Invasion with Brazilian drug dealer, and he came to me and said, I have a financial problem that I need like business help and all this. So eventually we signed and we made a contract together, and we're like closer business partners. I still maintain stuff for Shooty. I just signed a new project, announced the signing last night. It's called Brine. It's another like retro FPS, so we're kind of like carving out the niche. So I think, again, the importance of just talking to people, it changed my life. This one suggestion of, hey, you should talk to this person, changed the way that I can operate. So that's kind of how. And now we talk every day, and I'm learning Portuguese. It's great. Wesley, what's up, man?
Yeah, I just wanted to expand on something you said earlier about our prototypes right now is not usually the stage that we want to be creating pitches. When in the game development process do you see most successful pitches come out of?
When there's something fun to play, to be totally honest with you. Like it sounds really simplistic, but like, and that's not always true. I'm pitching with some people. If your concept is strong enough and you know your audience, if you're actually like pitching to, you don't necessarily you can get in some initial conversations, but really you want to focus being insular as possible until you have something fun to show off. And even further from pitching, having something fun and kind of understanding a timeline for when you think it can be finished, how much that's going to cost. So there's planning involved too. So it's not the first day that's like, oh, this is fun now, time to start pitching. No, it's fun. Now how long does it gonna take? Then add like 30% because you're never right. I'll tell you, you're just never correct the first time you do it, and that's fine. You're not supposed to be. So yeah, that's it. It needs to be fun, and you need to have a plan for how it's going to roll out, because the easier you can make it on publishers, the more likely they will to want to be to help you out, and that's a big part of it. I hope that answers your question.
Amazing. All right,
Roberto, or we got one more. Or I can, if it's a quick, I can probably run it really fast.
Okay. All right, so
60 seconds.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so how long when pitching to publishers? How long must the pitch be? Like
short as possible, man. Short as possible. The more concise you can be, the more effective you can be with your communication. To be like, hey, here's our cool game. You can play it. It's fun. Like, it's it.
So,
go for me at least. And I mean, everyone's time is valuable, right?
So it could be at least a few slides. The
PowerPoint a few slides. But yeah, you definitely want to be concise with showing, like, communicating why should they work with you, especially if you're trying to negotiate for money, because that's the hardest thing to get. It's very hard to get funding right now. Yeah. So especially with that, that's concise.
Do you have to have a demo or vertical slice ready?
You should. I would highly recommend it. No publisher worth your time is going to sign you or make agreements with you without having played your game first.
That's like a demo at the end.
Yeah.
Vertical slice.
That's great.
Something that pitching is doing like pitch contests or pitch practice, I think will teach you incorrectly, actually, is that the vast majority of these conversations aren't really like pitches, air quotes. It's more like you go, hey, this thing is cool and here's why it's cool. And that's sort of like a pitch, but the vast majority of it is just a conversation after that. And you kind of go back and forth, and the publisher will be like, okay, well, that sounds interesting. Well, why don't we look at the finances now? And you'll go to that slide and talk about that for a couple of minutes. The concept of like, let me like hit you with this in 5 minutes or less, and it's every single segment, that actually doesn't happen that much.
All right. Yeah. First presentation, then vertical slice.
Yes, both are important. All right, I want to make sure I move us along here, though, so we can get us all out of here and continue to working on our wonderful games. So the winner of Joe's time. Thanks, Joe. We've got
crazy. You can hit me up if you want. So I'm sorry. Before you do this, real quick, I put my email in here. I think it's a really good exercise for you to actually send an email with a pitch. It doesn't have to be today. It doesn't have to be the GDD, but eventually, maybe once you get finished with stuff, here's my email. Take it. Email me anytime. Send me your pitch. Just like say like, hey, it was from Indie Game Academy, and I'll give you feedback on your pitch at least, and hopefully one day you can pitch to me for real. That would be cool.
Nice. Awesome. All right. So in third place for our favorite pitch from today, we have Criminal Mischief. Second place, we have Deegan Devil's Horse Racing from Hell. And in first place, I feel like this is starting to allude to the maturity level of this room, is I have to have pizza or I'll explode. Congratulations to Connor. So Connor, wow. Beautiful. Awesome. All right, so Connor, if you will, why don't we do this? Connor, you can send Joe an email, and Joe, look out for that email, and then y'all can coordinate a time to chat a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm no problem. Sounds great.
Cool. All right. So let's wrap up the day then. That is more or less the end of our at least live segment of day 2. Once again, the Gather doesn't actually close. Continue to use this co-working space as much as you want. We want to see your beautiful games over the rest of this jam. I'm just going to basically spend 2 minutes here to remind everybody of our milestones. So here's our milestones. You've got 2 really sort of 3 more things that we expect of you for the span of the jam. Number 1, I want to see you post a short form video about your game. That is to get you practicing short form video posting, and then also so that we can all test our game concepts. It is valuable for us to see how much audience appetite there is and what kinds of attention we can get for the game. How easy is it for us to market a game? So we want to see you post a short form video that could just be a quick gameplay clip of like your a little first playable. It could be you mocking something up if your game isn't ready to show. It could be anything. It could be you talking about your game for 3 seconds and about how you really love pizza. I don't know. Short form video about your concept using the hashtag IGA level 1. Tomorrow morning, way too early in the morning, I'm going to stream looking at any of them that have been posted. And the video that gets the highest traction on their platform will get shouted out by the IGA social media channel. So this is one of our prizes. All right, so post a short form video today. Tomorrow morning, I'll look at them. The, of course, biggest milestone is just getting the dang game done. As I've said a few times now, we try to get you to finish games, but not burn yourselves to the ground. So your game does have to be submitted tomorrow night by midnight. And you submit it in the itch, which actually I will link one time for the sake of redundancy. But we are giving you permission to continue to work on your game all the way up until Friday, when we actually reveal who won any of the prizes. That means, though, that because we're doing peer voting post-submission, if you make changes, let's say on like Thursday, it's very unlikely anybody will actually see them. So obviously you want the majority of it done tomorrow night. But you can make a couple of polish fixes. Inevitably, you're going to have a bug that you didn't notice, right? So any of that is totally welcome for you to continue to do. What else do I have to say? Friday, we will have our last live event where we are all back in this gather and we reveal any prizes and awards. But as I said, you're welcome to use this space all the way up until the end of the day on Friday. So please keep using the space. We want to see people in our gather doing cool stuff. Okay, I'm going to do one more thing. So for the sake of submission, you are going to the link that I just posted in order to submit. And I will put this on the stream if anybody is joining us from the stream. There you go, stream. All right. And we are not just asking for the game, we're asking for 2 other things. And once again, the sort of thesis of this level 1 has been, can we get developers to do the things we know that they need to do to make them more likely to succeed as indie founders? And so there are 2 things we're asking for more than just the game. The first is a Meet the Founders video. We want you to record a video. It doesn't necessarily have to be all the founders if that's too difficult, but a 60-second video showcasing who the team is in some way. Once again, this doesn't have to be overproduced. Just like hop on a call with each other and record a 60-second video where you go, hey, here's who we are. But the big idea is that you're trying to get us to fall in love with you as well as your game. And that's because we know that that's one of the biggest strengths of indie developers. We love our Davids and we kind of hate our Goliaths. Big game AAAs can go away. I'm tired of them. So we want to see why you as an indie developer are wonderful. So record a little Meet the Founders video. There is a spot in the itch when you submit your game to include a URL, and it is required, and that URL should link to your video. Second, we want at least one social media follow link. So if anybody is like, well, I don't want people to know about my game, stop doing that. That is a useless practice. Everybody should know about your game as soon as possible. You should be the one shouting about your game more than anybody else. And any worries about somebody stealing your concept, who cares, first of all? Second of all, even if somebody does steal your concept, those are going to be 2 completely different games. And third of all, it is so much more valuable to talk about your game and get people talking about your game, possibly working with you, possibly shouting out your game, whatever else collaboration might happen, than it is to like work in stealth mode. When you have $1 million and Nintendo's audience, you can work in stealth mode. Right now, you don't. So post at least one social media follow link. That could be just somebody on your team's account if you don't want to like make a new one. That could be that your team makes an account somewhere. It could be a Discord, just somewhere for you to collect eyeballs right now, right at the beginning. All right. Make sense to everybody? Any questions? Okay, cool. I think last thing I'll do then is remind you of our bounties. One team will get to join us in level 2 totally for free. We want to see... Basically, we want continuity, the most kick-ass game from here we want to take into the next cohort. I'll remind you, if you want to get yourself a couple of bucks, courtesy of Exola, there's $500 on the line. You do have to have a web store functional for your game, but they're cool with that being tied to like a prototype. So you can totally just plug web store into your prototype and possibly win $500. A reminder one more time, I'll say it again because it's weird and we won't do it again. If you want to be eligible for that $500, you do have to submit at 2 locations. Otherwise, you've got a couple of prizes here. We're going to interview our favorite team story. We're going to bring you onto our podcast. And a few publishers, including No Quarter Software, Joe, will be social media shouting out their faves. Okay? Any questions?
So since we got to submit a video by midnight.
Tomorrow night, midnight tomorrow, to be clear.
Oh,
Yes.
tomorrow night. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. The hashtag level 1 video showing your gameplay. Yes, that is due by midnight tonight. Correct. The Meet the Teams video is due with your submission tomorrow night. So there's 2 videos that we're talking about here.
Okay. So the video that's due tonight, so it has to like showcase the gameplay. Like does the game have to like look like essentially look good, like the gameplay with the like all the graphics and textures, everything? Like,
no, there's no requirement about what that video is, except that you post it to a real social media account somewhere and use the hashtag IGA level 1, and that it somehow is about your game. So it could be, for instance, Roberto, maybe you literally just record yourself telling us why your game is awesome. That would be valid. Mostly we want you to get in the mindset of how do I sell my game right now? And we want to see who is capable of doing that, frankly. We want to see like which of you can figure out that spice. So what could you put together that the audience, that the world might want to see, might click on?
so it's like a work in progress type of like video.
What I'm expecting to see probably is a bunch of clips of like kind of ugly prototypes. And that sounds good. I would watch that. All right.
Okay.
Yep. Any other cool questions? I'm very excited by this formula. There's clearly stuff. This is the first time we've done this quite like this. There's clearly stuff for us to iterate upon for the next one. But it's been really cool to watch your game sort of come to life together. So I'm excited by that as a direction, and we'll definitely do more stuff like this in the future. For now, I am going to sort of log off. Wesley and co will go hang out, and we'll do our 30-minute consultation that y'all won yesterday. Otherwise, for everybody else, once again, the gather isn't closed. Feel free to keep using it. I want to see progress pics, and don't forget to post your video about your game using hashtag IGA level 1. All right, let's get a round of S for day 2. Well done, everybody. Your games are looking freaking great. All right, Wesley, why don't we go sit in a breakout room for a couple minutes? Good luck, everyone. And I'm turning off the stream now. Bye, stream. We love you. Oh, hi, Victor. I see you in the chat. Adios.